Stanley Black & Decker provides tools and services around the globe to help turn great ideas into reality and to help us shape the world we live in. We proudly support programming that inspires invention, innovation, and hard work. Together with Make48, we're providing men and women the tools and resources to build a better world. Stanley Black & Decker, for those who make the world.
ACE is made up of thousands of entrepreneurs with a passion for supporting innovation. With more than 5,000 locally owned stores worldwide, we help supply resources and tools for neighborhood makers and inventors.
ACE is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
For more than 30 years, QVC has been dedicated to finding and supporting innovators, inventors, and entrepreneurs. Our shopping experiences help entrepreneurs bring their products to life and share compelling stories of grit, determination, and creativity.
Previously on Make48, the products were refined and redesigned.
Can it be mass marketed? Can it be manufactured cost effectively?
And first-round industry prototypes created.
Yeah, we were really pleased with how the part came out. You've got enough flexibility.
Welcome to Make48. Everyone's got a big idea.
So now that we've finished with Hammerspace and we've made some looks like, feels like prototypes, got the model down to what we wanted, we know how it's going to look, we know how it's going to feel, we're pretty satisfied with those models. Now we're going to take it to the next level and go to R&D prototype, where they have the big, expensive 3D printers.
I'm Chris McCoy, I'm the Vice President of R&D Prototype. We are a rapid prototype manufacturer, so we provide models for fit and function testing. Also for marketing tools, the models can be used for video shoots, photo shoots, focus group studies. So we use a stereolithography process, which is a liquid resin. It's UV cured resin, so it's basically cured by a laser, solid state laser. All right, Joe, I wanted to show you this build because we're using a gray material and it's easy to see what's going on inside the chamber. Wow. Everywhere you'll see the blue light on the surface, it's actually curing that material to the layer below it. So our layer thicknesses are 4/1000 of an inch thick. So think of it like a loaf of bread stacked on the end, and each slice of bread is 4/1000 of an inch thick.
So the SLA works in a very similar way as far as slicing that an additive printer or a filament printer would work. It just does it much more finely because it's working with a laser and resin.
The resin itself is about, our cost is about $2,000 for 10 kilograms, which is not a huge container, so it's expensive resin.
Kilogram in comparison to what's in there?
How much is in there?
What does that look like?
There's probably $80,000 worth of resin in there right now, but it's reusable. So when it's done building, we'll raise the vat, we'll drain off the excess, and it's reusable. So
and then refill a little bit.
Yeah, it'll refill whenever it needs to.
And so this wiper, what's that doing?
Okay, so the wiper blade on the Zephyr blade, it's basically a recoater. Okay. So after it draws whatever geometry is on that layer, the platform dips down 4/1000 of an inch. Okay. The blade sweeps across and is recoating. So if you had a big flat surface, when that part dips down, the resin may not make it all the way to the center, but that blade assures that everything's level and it's coated.
I know, like Chris, like on FDM printers, like Ultimakers, like the ones that are in my shop and stuff, we use structure to help hold the overhangs up and things like that. Do you use that in this type of printer?
Yeah, actually you do. Anything that's over 100,000ths of an inch overhang needs support. And what the supports do, basically, this is a platform that's building on. So supports will actually bridge the gaps of the holes. It's got to be perforated so when it dips down, the liquid comes through it. But it will actually draw a little line through that. 10,000th diameter support legs will come up and attach to the bottom surface. So if you go back to that loaf of bread, the heel is the first layer, it's going to have
little bitty support, or if you're building something with an arch in it.
And if it's a tall overhang, those supports will build the whole way up also and attach to that bottom surface.
Same material then?
Same material,
okay, yes. And then how do you get that material off of there when you're ready?
It's a breakaway support. You can do it with your finger. You just wipe across it. Yeah, it breaks away really easily. And that's one reason we choose this process. We've got SLA, SLS, FDM. SLA is easy to finish out. So our sanders can go through, we can get a high gloss finish in the parts. takes less time than trying to sand out or fill an FDM part.
Those prints are going to come out really nice and clean, beautiful looking. A little more fragile, but they're clean, they're slick. They are what's going to look more like what's going to be on a shelf of a retail outlet, more like what comes out of an injection mold, nice and clean, shiny plastic.
Your part's finished in the other machine if you want to go take a look at it.
Ah, let's do it.
All right.
Yeah. I've never seen machines like that in my life, and it just was amazing.
Okay, guys, you ready to see the part come to life here?
Yeah.
Yes.
Drain it out. All right, so it's basically the platform's lifting up out of the vat of resin,
Okay.
and we'll drain off the excess, and then we'll post-cure. But yeah, here it is.
Look at that.
Wow.
Just rising up out of the primordial soup.
It's over the top. It's amazing, isn't it?
Beautiful. Looks like crystal or something.
Oh my gosh. I can't even describe it. Good job.
Yeah,
Nice
thanks.
job, Chris. Appreciate it.
All right, we'll come back here and take a look at your part.
All right.
So we saw it come up on the platform. This is the finished product. So
Wow.
we've gone through,
Unbelievable.
great.
yeah, went through, put a matte finish on it, a light matte finish on it.
Oh, can I touch it?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. That's durable. So we use automotive paint and clear coats to get the texture. It's just basically a painting technique. If you had that texture in your file, it would bog the file down. It'd be such a large file format.
To try to create that.
Yeah, to create that with the texture in it. So what we make at R&D is a prototype. It's basically a physical model. You can test it, ergonomics of a product. You can test fit and function. You can use it for the marketing studies. But it is before you cut tooling, you want to make sure that everything's right with your parts. So we had 7 hours of build time, and then about 3 to 4 hours of sanding, cleanup time on the parts, another hour, hour and a half of paint time, and you've got a finished product. So basically 1 day turnaround time. Definitely speeds up the marketing process.
1 day from when we send you the files.
Yeah, 1 day from when you send us the
You've
files.
created a part.
We've created a part. So
That's pretty
when you're in the
impressive.
development stage and you're going through new designs, and you'll probably find issues that you want to change on this design. I mean, think about that, how much that speeds up the process where you're waiting 1 day instead of 3 weeks. If you do that first and you find mistakes, it's going to save you money in the long run because you're not having to redo your tooling to actually mold the production parts.
So Chris, before you had 3D printing and were able to do it like this, back then they modeled it in clay, right?
Right.
That's how they
Yeah,
did
modeled
parts?
clay, even did some paper mock-ups.
Try to see, get a look and feel.
Yeah, you're not going to get any function out of it,
Right.
but at least it gives you the ergonomics of it and kind of the feel of what it's going to look like. And like I said, being a fast process, it's what you're after in the prototyping stage. You don't want to waste a bunch of time. It's all about streamlining, getting your product on the market quickly, and the next product's coming.
Yeah. And like we were saying in Hammerspace, fail quickly so you can fail forward and find the right way to do it.
Right.
Find out how not to do it and the right way to do it. Watching Joe see his prototype for the first time, see that thing come up out of the resin, see the SLA print. Even though we're on version 3 and there's still some changes to be made, Joe's face and the light in his face when he saw his product, it's like a guy seeing his babies for the first time, you know? I mean, it's an exciting feeling. I was so happy for him. I know how it feels. One of the greatest feelings in the world is to invent something and watch it work, especially. I think Nikola Tesla said, it's the greatest feeling in the world when you create a product or you create an invention and you see it work. Nothing's better. And I'd say it's also a great feeling to watch an inventor see his product for the first time come off a 3D printer.
Couple little tweaks here or there. We fixed the bottom ring, fixed the power source coming in.
It is version 2 or 3 of
Right.
4 or 5 or 6.
Looks like it's almost ready for the store. I know it has some tweaking and things to do, but over the top.
I think everybody did a great job on it.
Chris, you killed it.
As the teams get hands-on with their prototypes, they can begin to test them and determine what changes need to be made for the products to succeed.
As we take these 3 products to market, the ultimate goal is for the product to succeed in retail or in e-commerce and ultimately make money for the investors, for the teams, etc. What's really interesting in the product world is out of 100 products, 97% will fail. The 3 products that do go to market, only 2 products will make money in the long term.
After talking through all of the design elements for the wedgie, the team at Make48 take Courtney and the dads outside to show them the prototype.
This is the very first time that the entire team, including us, has seen the redesigned prototype of the wedgie. And all products within the competition, they're not just gonna have one redesign phase and then be done. It's gonna take 3 or 4 or 5 times, to get it right.
As you can see, we've tried to stay very true to your original concept.
It looks like our version on steroids.
It looks very cool.
I feel good about what we came up with because it looks a lot like it, so it looks true to the concept, but just better than we could sew it at 2 a.m. with our daughters. So
some of the things that we had to work through was, how does this whole thing go together? You can see these seams are actually heat sealed and then they have sewn edges. Yeah. But the heat sealing is actually allowing us to do, what we talked about, the airflow compartment. We're using steel tubing on this frame. It's one of the things that I think that the prototype has already shown us is that there's a question about whether the steel tubing is too heavy for a product like this. It is a portable product, and so there are certain things that we should definitely look at in terms of either using an alternative material, maybe something like aluminum, or finding a different way of lightening up the product.
Yeah, and one of the nice things and one of the reasons looking at a bit heavier material is, if you use it on the beach, you notice we've had a few gusts of wind and the things barely move.
From this point on, it's really about evaluating the product and just looking at all the different functionalities and seeing what you like, what you dislike, and that's how we go. We use this as a learning tool to take us to that next step and the next prototype, which may look completely different from this, depending on what we learn from this.
It was a major advantage going to the inflatable methodology as opposed to using foam because of cost savings. Now there's a comfort element and lightness, of course, but then you add cost savings onto that. The foam was actually the most expensive part of this prototype.
We were given a price point for production of around $13 to $15.
They looked at that price point and were like, we can do this, 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 and this, and make sure that they're under that.
Dave's been tinkering with this over the past few months and come up with a bunch of different models. And he came to a couple conclusions. One is that really there are only 3 pads that touch the body. It's this pad when you're in the lounger position, the back pad that you already have inflatable, and then you could call it the butt pad or head pad, depending on which one you want to say. But and that's going to carry a lot of weight when you're in this position. But those seem to be like the ones that we would want to have the most comfortable with foam and inflation. Mm-hmm. These pads actually, you don't lean your body against them. They're really just a frame to hold it up. And in fact, we might not even need fabric here, depending on how we could design it. So hopefully that might be a way to reduce the cost, yes. Lighten it, but also make it easier to understand, because we know one of our challenges was when you see all these pads, what goes where. But if you remove the fabric or make this obvious, then it makes it simpler for people to realize, well, I can't obviously lean against an empty rack. So those are some of the things that Dave had come up with that we might want to consider in the next version.
We had some ideas for taking some fabric out, so we feel like we added some value again, because maybe we can help them keep the price point down by focusing on what the important panels are.
Well, like this valve too, I was thinking if you look at some of the camping mats, they have one of those screw valves. Yes. Probably because of once you lay on it, the pressure on the foam and the air would make this easier to pop. So maybe I'm sure that valve may be more expensive, so maybe we can apply the savings into some of the other areas.
That's definitely the type of valve we had in mind for a production level model. And in this case though, the valves are kind of difficult to get a hold of. You can buy 1,000 of them, but it's difficult to buy one. So we work with vendors who then are able to replicate some of the production processes, but on a smaller scale. In this case, our prototyping vendor is in China. Obviously, they're not always able to do exactly the same as we would be able to do in production, but we can get it pretty close. So the prototype that we've produced then kind of shows off the design direction that we've chosen, and allows us to test it out and try out a few of the innovations that we've added.
After getting a rough prototype made, Bob brings James to R&D Prototype to get a high-quality drink slinger printed.
Now that we have the 3D printed
version from the makerspace. We're going to go now to the R&D prototype, which is a professional grade 3D printing.
This is our Fortis 900. It's a FDM machine, fused deposition modeling. It has a 3 foot by 2 foot by 3 foot tall build envelope.
3 foot tall? Wow. So that's a small part for such a big one.
It is, and typically we would use this machine if we're going to build 100 of your springs.
So you can actually print multiple on one.
Absolutely. We could build 3 or 4 different jobs and pack it all into one packing and build those parts at one time.
That's great.
But yeah, let's take it out and take a look at the part.
Thank you.
The process has really been a lot of fun. It's just working with all these really skilled people and everyone just firing on all cylinders, knowing exactly what they're doing, and the results just speak for themselves.
So that is it.
Oh, it prints on a piece of plastic.
That's right. And so that bed in there actually has air suction that holds that plastic in place, and it can be difficult to pull that up unless you have a pocket knife handy.
Sure.
But so basically what it did, it built real material for the support system to stick to. The real material sticks to the plastic. The support material is built on top of that, and then your part is built on top of the support material, and it will actually peel away.
A lot easier in my home.
Yeah. Now the holes will they're filled with support material now, but that material will dissolve away in our wash tank. So it's soluble support system.
We're looking at the FDM printer, which is an extruded printer, and it's very similar to your desktop printer, just a more commercial version.
So I can see the quality of the finish is so much better than with regular 3D.
The reason we picked this machine and this material, being a spring action, we want it to be durable. The SLA part, if we built on that, it's going to be pretty flimsy being so thin for one.
Right.
And two, it would probably break.
And what type of material is this again?
So this is ABS M30.
Oh,
so it's a real ABS material. Yes.
So pretty stout.
Yeah, and it's typically used in automotive parts, automotive manufacturing. So that's another reason we pick it. It's durable.
They've chose the FDM printer because the spring needs that flexibility, and with the other type printers, it's more fragile.
So the door is this thick in order to keep it insulated?
Inside, yes. The temperature inside is consistent, so when the plastic is extruded out, it's going to hold tolerance. They know exactly how much it's going to shrink when it comes out of the nozzle. If it wasn't inside of a chamber like that, then the cold air is going to make it shrink a lot more. You're going to get part warpage, a lot of problems.
So that's why they heat the bed and the air.
That's right. That's right.
Keep things
stable. Keep the whole chamber.
So this is the stereolithography machine?
Yes, stereolithography. It's SLA stereolithography apparatus. It's a 7,000 machine. It's the largest platform they had until the Pros came out. The reason we chose this machine versus the 3D printer that we just were at is the stereolithography material sands out easy, it powders out easy, finishes nice, so we can get any kind of surface finish you want.
The SLA printer is one of my favorite. So this is why we're using the SLA printer for the drink slinger, so that we can have that refined product. Once that's printed, then we can sand it and then paint it to make it look like that store shelf product.
Let's pull it up here. It's going to come up out of the resin. So the SLA resin itself is $2,000 for 10 kilograms of material, so it's pretty pricey.
So your software calculates the amount of material being used by the individual parts, so you can price.
Absolutely. So when you call for a quote, we basically run your part file through the software, calculates the volume of material we're using, it calculates the build time, and then that's what your quote's based on. Yep. Okay. So we'll come back here. Here's the finished SLA part in the desktop printed part.
Wow, look at that. So you can see the difference. Look at that.
Wow. Great job.
So much smoother. It looks like a finished product. Like something you'd get out of an injection mold. Quality of the build is just so much better than obviously the 3D prints. It was, I mean, that one part looked like a finished product. You couldn't tell it apart.
That's the reason we use the SLA materials. It's easy to finish. Yeah, that's actually a painted finish on there with a light matte finish, similar to a computer chassis or housing.
Wow.
I wish the team could be here to feel that and see it close up. Wow, that's beautiful. Great job.
I'd say they can definitely
you're putting your best foot forward with a prototype this way.
Yeah, definitely. When you're going into a meeting and you're trying to present an item, you want it to look like the finished product. So that's the purpose of
this
doing
is truly looks like it just came off of the plastic mold injection.
Yeah, definitely.
Hard to believe it's printed.
Yeah.
So seeing the professional made prototype for the drink slinger is got to be a dream come true for the team. The ability to see that product from the 48-hour challenge to now what looks like, feels like something on the store shelf. What do you think, Chris?
That's pretty awesome.
It is.
Yeah, that's great. The stage it's at now, it looks like it's a manufacturable product. You know, now we just obviously need to do a little more testing to see how robust the connection is and all that kind of thing, and a few other refinements. But I think we're really getting somewhere with this.
So James, I see this is version 3, so there's going to be some more prototypes to keep things moving forward, to perfect everything. We want it
how
perfect.
many more you think?
I'd probably say 2 to 3 more versions before it's fully ready to showcase. The goal of making your prototype over and over and over is to find its weaknesses and strengths. Find those out so then you can keep improving it.
For the Whiz Bang, a winning product from season 1, the road to the marketplace continues. Tom visits Jungle Creations in New York City, hoping to get some help in creating a marketing video for the toilet training assistance device.
So Paul, I wanted to bring you this product, the Whiz Bang. This is from season 1. It is the boys' toilet training device. I want you guys to make a video on this one. If you think it's right, what would you do? How would you make it funny? How would you make it go viral? The viral video industry itself, is it all driven by what? Facebook, Instagram? How does a viral video become viral?
Yeah, good question. I think everyone's kind of definition of that is varies quite drastically. For us internally, we say it's 5 million views or above is what we constitute viral. But if we were to rewind just 6 months ago, that was 1 million or above. So the parameters and goalposts are constantly changing. For us, I think that the key metric we always look for is, actually, interestingly, about 6 months ago, this was purely shares, but I don't know if you saw Mark Zuckerberg's statement recently that they're now valuing comments on Facebook more than shares. Comments is what their gauge of how well a piece of content is, how high quality it is now. So what we would always try to do whenever a product came to us is to think, what is it about that product that would make me tag my mum, my colleague, my sister, my brother? Why would I put that on their wall? Why would I want to integrate that into their world? And if there's no answer to that question, then it's not going to go viral, in our opinion. What's the difference between TV and the content that we do is that the content we do is 85% consumed on your mobile phone. If we take when we go live on VT, for example, we know that 22 million people around the world will get a buzz on their phone or a notification saying you are live right now. And that's just like something that television just can't compete with, which is why I think you're seeing things like Netflix do so well, and YouTube TV. And I think for the first time the other month it was online subscription TV outweighed cable viewership for the first time in history. And I think that trend's just going to keep on going as people move away from like linear programs to watching what they want, when they want, wherever they want.
A viral video is very beneficial. You get a lot of eyeballs very quickly. You need to get a buzz on your product. You need your friends talking about it. You need a lot of people sharing it through their social media platforms. And multiple different variations of eyeballs seeing it creates that buzz and creates it really quick. So it's very beneficial to an inventor. If I was to bring you this product, you would like to make your own commercial and make your own content. Is that what you're telling me from our advice we've been hearing?
Yes, I completely understand why you would want to market it to people learning how to, who are getting kind of toilet trained. But what we would take that product and do with it is market it to a completely different audience, which for me it would be aimed at millennial couples, and I think it would be aimed at people who share a house with a male roommate. And so, what I tend to find and what we found on VT particularly is any product that kind of has, that solves some issue that might be in some way embarrassing. So, we've done really well with products that do something to do with snoring or something to do with cleaning up after your housemate. I'm seeing a very kind of humorous, funny video where we kind of merge together various different scenarios of using the bathroom and put that together to like a 1 minute long video that we would then distribute on social media.
And I've had experience with viral videos before where a viral video has been launched and then the newspaper, the magazines and all that will contact you simply because they had seen it on the platform. The Whiz Bang has a lot of potential to be viral simply because it has a very fun nature. That's often something that viral videos need, is something that you will happily spread to a friend or a family member. Well, good feedback, Paul. I'm excited about launching this one.
Cool.
Next time on Make48, the refined prototypes are shown to the mentors.
It's the sound, it's the feel, it's the security.
And Tom consults an attorney about trademarks and patents.
Trademarks and patents are two of the kind of basically four parts of what are called intellectual properties.
Make48. Everyone's got a big idea.
Stanley Black & Decker provides tools and services around the globe to help turn great ideas into reality and to help us shape the world we live in. We proudly support programming that inspires invention, innovation, and hard work. Together with Make48, we're providing men and women the tools and resources to build a better world. Stanley Black & Decker, for those who make the world.
ACE is made up of thousands of entrepreneurs with a passion for supporting innovation. With more than 5,000 locally owned stores worldwide, we help supply resources and tools for neighborhood makers and inventors.
ACE is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
For more than 30 years, QVC has been dedicated to finding and supporting innovators, inventors, and entrepreneurs. Our shopping experiences help entrepreneurs bring their products to life and share compelling stories of grit, determination, and creativity.
To learn more about the invention process and to get to know the teams, visit Make48.com.